Oklahoma City's prettiest luncheons is coming up, and Kitty Little and Sherry Sullivan are here to tell us about it. We are in the downtown Oklahoma City studio at the Oklahoman, and I'm Helen Ford Wallace of Parties Extra. Our sponsor is the wonderful Party Galaxy. Welcome you all.
Thank you for having us.
Well, it's next week that this luncheon is. It's the 77th annual luncheon. So tell us about it, Kitty.
Well, the Early American Glass Club, we are in our 78th year, and once a year, members have a table, and they invite guests, and then they make their table in whatever theme they want. And about 30 minutes before the actual luncheon starts, all the guests and members come in and walk around and view all the different tables.
And they bring the good stuff. They bring the good silver, the good china, the good crystal, and really, it's gorgeous.
Absolutely, it's wonderful, and it's like having things from the past and things in the current time at the same time. It's a neat way, and we don't see that as often as we used to, probably.
Well, how many people come?
We have usually anywhere between 24 and 30 tables, and so there's around 250 to 300 people. And we usually have a guest speaker, and this year we're real excited because our speaker is
Karen Keene from, she's on the Antique Roadshow, and she's with the Skinner Auction House. She's an appraiser, a fine arts and decorative arts appraiser, and she's also the CEO of this pretty large auction house that has offices in, Massachusetts, New York, Florida, and some other places. And
well, she'll have a good look at all the good
That's
stuff.
right. That's right. And we've tried to let our members and guests know that if they want to bring something that day, she'll actually do a little look-see while we're at the luncheon. So that'll be fun.
Gosh,
that'll be fun.
Great, you all. And so, well, it really is one of the prettiest luncheons, I think, of all of Oklahoma City.
Thank you.
And the flowers are beautiful, and they're arranged. I mean, it's just all really wonderful.
Well, it is about the only time you see collections of silver and china and crystal and combinations. And as Kitty said, you may have all antiques or you may have all contemporary things, more likely to be antiques. But generally, they're just combinations, and you have to be creative.
The new and the old, maybe. How about a theme? Do you have a theme?
For the guest day luncheon, we don't really have a theme per se. It's just that each of our members may have a theme within their table.
I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, who are the chairmen?
The chairmen this year are Jody Kerr and Kathy Kempf.
Okay. Well, one year, I think I told you this. There was a speaker on Czech glass, Czech Republic glass, and people brought all their Czech glass, and so you all have different.
Correct,
ideas.
and one year we had Lalique, and so a lot of our members who collect Lalique were able to have tables that were kind of themed around Lalique. Now this year, with her being kind of an expert in all kinds of antiquities, who knows what everybody will bring.
So we have Meissen, Dresden, pressed glass, porcelain. We just have it all.
That's right, sky's the limit. The hardest thing now is finding it and having it. I mean, that's why we all kind of get along so well, is we collect. And some of the current generations aren't as interested in things from the past, and so it's very neat to be able to walk around and passing it down. I mean, there are a lot of women in the club who say, my daughters don't want this, my granddaughters don't want this.
And it's gorgeous.
And it's amazing stuff, and so we're like, we want it. So why don't you will it to the Glass Club? Why don't you will it to the president of the Glass Club this year?
you learn so much history. You learn about customs and things that you never think about, like where do you put a butter pat when you sit at the table, when we had never been seated at the table with butter pats before. And I learned, for example, that the tablespoon was the primary utensil used until after World War I, and that was what people ate with most of the time, even whether you were doing silver or wood or whatever. Things that you kind of learn as you're getting into this.
Oh my! Well, what is there any more history?
Well, just the politics.
About the club?
The club is...
The club started in the fall of 1938. It was founded by 6 ladies here in Oklahoma City, and we were talking about this. The initial year, there were over 100 members. 3 of which were men. Currently, we're limited to 50 active members, and all are women.
And they've done these tables all these long time.
Correct, and all year long. We meet the second Wednesday of every month, from September through May. May is the end of the year. It's the guest day luncheon, but all through the year we meet monthly. We meet in one of our members' homes, and then we have a luncheon committee. We have a chairman of the luncheon committee. A lot of the members actually make the lunch. And
they bring out their stuff again?
Bring out, yes, in the hostess home, they bring out their china, silver, crystal, and have a seated luncheon for 50 women. Yeah. And then we have a speaker, we have a program, and usually that's more of a local, a local speaker. Sometimes, I mean, you know, again, we have varied. This year we've had all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
It's so interesting that at your big luncheon that you eat off of all this good stuff too.
Correct.
They transport it in.
What's really interesting is if you see the pre for the setup and you see the post afterwards, everyone comes in. The guests come in when it's all set and all the tables are beautiful, but there's a lot of craziness before and after. Yeah.
So do you all have tables?
Yes.
Well, tell us about your table.
My table is a surprise.
A surprise?
As it is every year. Yeah, and I think even people who know me well will say, really? Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be pretty spectacular. Yeah. Very different than what I normally do, though.
What have you done before?
2 years ago, when we celebrated our 75th anniversary for the club, it happened to also be my 25th wedding anniversary. So I had an anniversary theme, and I had my centerpiece was a wedding cake, but it was completely made out of live flowers. And then I had place settings from 4 generations of my family that were all their wedding china and crystal and silver. And so it was that was one of my favorite in recent times.
And I'm doing a combination of a set of china I've had for a while and not used, and one grandmother's sterling, and my crystal, and I collect antique crystal knife rests and the salt cellars, and
so I'm going to use all the
I'll probably use a lot of crystal with it, and china and silver. It's ornate, and you kind of make it up as you go.
It's a work in progress. Yeah, well, definitely.
Both those tables, I mean, we don't know yours, but your
Not
table
this
sounds
year.
fabulous.
Not this year.
It's fun. One year I had more contemporary Jalisca pottery and had succulents, and my sister helped me. Really, my sister did a very creative centerpiece. So the centerpieces are fun. Some people have beautiful, is it Meissen? What is ornate, antique centerpieces that they use, and other people just use different kinds of flowers, and some people do their own, some people get help. It's just a fun combination.
It's a fun combination of a lot of different variety, and I think that's why the May Luncheon it's fun for 2 reasons. 3. We get to see things of even our own members that we haven't seen before. We get to meet a lot of their friends because we invite our guests, and then we get to think about what we're going to do the next year.
And you start right away. You said you started right away.
Yes, my mother is not a member of the Glass Club, but she is kind of like an honorary member because she helps every time I'm a hostess in my home. She's always there helping, and she has for the last several years helped create what we're going to do for tables. And we usually start scheming about the next year's table at the luncheon this year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And your sister helps you?
And my friends help me too. And we think of things during the year, and they'll suggest things, and sometimes I'll use my friends' mother's china and different pieces and different combinations, and I borrow something every year, and I lend something almost every year. It's kind of fun. We work together, we help each other, and my friends who come love to help and help me kind of sometimes decide what to do, as well as the set up and clean up.
Well, so it's a coveted invitation.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants to come.
Yeah, it's a fun thing, and it's because it doesn't happen every day, and I think that's the bit of the novelty part of it. I started coming to Guest Day Luncheon 20 years ago. I was invited by my mentor, who is now in heaven. And for over 10 years, I was a guest at her table. And then I started figuring out she wanted me to kind of help her. And then next thing I knew, she was vying for me to maybe become a member. And now I'm president of the club this year. It's funny how that happens. But anyway, it's been a really great experience. And it's a lot of fun, a lot of different than the real world.
So anything else about your meetings or your luncheon or anything you want to share?
Hopefully it'll continue for another 25 years and we can celebrate, pretty soon our centennial.
We have a lot of fun. It's a really nice group. Plus, we really do learn a lot about collecting in Americana especially, and all sorts of decorative arts as well as fine art.
And like you said, what they used to do. I mean,
right.
Right.
It's very
that's lost art.
It is a lost art and a lost appreciation. And I think it's neat to have people who are of like mind and enjoy and appreciate it.
It's awesome. Well, what a wonderful group of women. If you know one of them, do your best to get an invitation to come to lunch and enjoy the beautiful table settings. We hope that this year is the best one ever.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you for coming in.
You bet.